Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, man. I had to come back for part two because that part one brought so much nostalgia, man. This so great, so great. Shout out to all the 80s babies out there. We're back on the Recollection Road channel. And this is if you grew up in the 1980s, you probably remember this part two. I'm excited. Appreciate all the love and support. I'll leave the link to their channel in the description so you guys can check out more videos yourselves, subscribe, all that, man. What a great channel. So shout out to all the good humans. We ain't gonna waste no more time. Let's jump right into it. I'm excited.
The 1980s was a popular culture explosion,
Wow.
and throughout the decade, there was so much going on, I couldn't fit it all into one video. So I decided to put together another collection of things you might remember from the 80s. This time, I used the comments from the last video to create the list. So if you grew up in the 1980s, you will remember many of these things, once again provided by you, the viewers.
Man.
To start out, new singers emerged and took the malls by storm in the mid-80s. The two most well-known were Debbie Gibson and Tiffany.
Yep.
These two actually performed in malls and became two of the hottest stars on the planet during the 1980s. Following the success of these two, the Boston boy band New Kids on the Block shot to
Hey.
fame, and every teenage girl had their favorite New Kid member.
Man, just starting off with those straws though.
Keeping with music, the 80s are remembered for the hair bands of the day. Not only was spandex their favorite thing to wear, but bands like Motley Crue, Bon Jovi, and Poison weren't afraid of a little mascara either.
It was called hair metal, right?
For the kids that detested mainstream pop music, there was new music from Run DMC
Hey.
and the Beastie Boys.
We have arrived. We have arrived. Rest in peace, Jam Master Jay. Look at that right there, man. The hats, the chains. My Adidas. Do. Man. This is when I could listen to rap music. Can't do it now. Oh no.
Mainstream pop music, there was new music from Run DMC and the Beastie Boys. Heavy metal was
Man.
also hitting its stride in the 80s, and no other band was as commercially successful as Metallica.
Metallica. Yo.
News stories of the day included the ever-evolving AIDS epidemic, and especially the story of middle schooler Ryan White.
Ryan, right. I don't remember that.
In 1986, the space shuttle Challenger exploded on live TV after the whole country watched the first teacher climb aboard. All of this was happening as Cold War tensions with the Soviet Union were coming to a close.
It's like the video got dark.
During the early 1980s, many kids had an Atari 2600.
Yep.
Do you remember playing games with the worn-out joystick that
Yep.
was missing its plastic cover? Anyways, games like Space Invaders and Joust became popular arcade-style games that were brought into the living rooms of millions of Americans.
Man, this is great.
Television viewing for younger kids might have included watching The Bozo Show in the morning before going to school.
Bozo
Who
Show.
didn't love watching the Grand Prize Game? Another show kids would watch prior to going to school was Mr. Wizard's World on Nickelodeon. The show made learning about science fun and engaging. After school, Reading Rainbow was another educational show that aired on PBS.
I remember.
The show made reading an adventure, and by opening a book, you could find the answer to anything.
LeVar Burton. Take a look. It's in the book.
Family sitcoms were a huge part of 1980s programming.
Michael J.
These shows focused more on the kids, and most of them became huge stars while their shows were on the air. Shows like Family Ties with Michael J. Fox, Growing Pains with Kirk Cameron,
Look at
and
Robin.
Who's the Boss with Alyssa Milano
Yep.
made for plenty of celebrity crushes by kids across the country.
Dang, Miami Vice.
For grown-ups, new shows like Miami Vice and Moonlighting put a new spin on traditional crime shows.
Boy, this is like really taking me back.
If you were a
E.T..
kid growing up in the 1980s, movies were everything. E.T. made you believe, War Games made you wonder, and Revenge of the Nerds gave you hope.
That was my show.
Not only could you watch these movies at the theater, but VCRs were becoming more popular in homes, and you could own the movie yourself. If you didn't have a VCR, you could also rent one from your local video store.
Gee, Reggie Jackson.
One of the best parts of the 1980s were all of the low-budget horror movies that became standard viewing at slumber parties. From Friday the 13th to A Nightmare on Elm Street, the sequels that these movies produced could fill an entire night.
I remember that.
And if you love staying up late, there is no doubt you watched the Mistress of Dark herself, Elvira, host her late-night movie marathon. Who doesn't remember hanging out at the mall just about every weekend in the 1980s? Whether you were shopping for a new pair of Z Cavariccis or hanging out at the arcade, everyone loved to stop at the food court and grab an ice-cold Orange Julius.
I like I said, I never went to the mall in the 80s.
Speaking of shopping, the 1980s had everyone repeating slogans from popular ad campaigns, including, "Excuse me, are those Bugle Boy jeans you're wearing?" Fast food restaurant Wendy's also got in on the question game with, "Where's the beef?"
Where's the beef? And now
Do
Arby's.
you remember Fred the Baker, better known as the Time to Make the Donuts guy? This campaign made Dunkin' Donuts a household name. Domino's Pizza also had a character of their own to promote their pizza delivery in under 30 minutes. Avoiding the Noid was key to getting your pizza in the 1980s.
I remember, man.
During the 1980s, it wasn't unusual for you to spend a Friday night at the local skating rink. You may have even splurged on a pair of wide-wheeled speed skates to help you dominate the limbo.
Ooh, my knees.
Swatch watches were wildly popular during this decade. The loud and colorful watch was on everyone's wish list, and they represented the aesthetic of the 1980s to a T. If you were a girl that loved your Aquanet hairspray, you probably also owned a few jackets that had wide shoulder pads. The broad shoulder look was in, and so were jellies.
Oh,
These
Lord.
squishy plastic shoes were cheap, stylish, and comfortable.
Oh, man, do I remember those jellies. The girls used to always have them.
Game nights during the 1980s were ruled by a new tabletop game called Trivial Pursuit. The trivia game had you earning colorful pie pieces, and once they were all collected, you won.
Never played that one. Pictionary, yep.
For those who weren't versed in all things trivia, Pictionary and Jenga also were popular party game choices.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the most influential toys of the decade were created out of television cartoons. Transformers was a fun concept, and it made for fun toys as well. Every kid loved transforming Optimus Prime into a semi-truck.
Autobots.
The fast-talking commercials for Micro Machines also made these popular choices for kids. And then there was Teddy Ruxpin, the friendly book-reading bear. This animatronic bear had a spot in his back for cassette tapes that would bring him to life. If you enjoyed this video, check out the description for links that help support the channel.
Again, man, the 80s. I seen someone comment and said I should check out, like, I think the 60s or 50s. We'll do that. Like, I watch stuff like this, and part of me just want to go get me some Bugle Boy jeans if they still got them. Just see what happens. Just kind of walk, like, go to the mall in one of them old school outfits and see how many people turn their head. Because, you know, a lot of stuff be coming full circle. It may not go full throttle or balls to the wall like they say, but it comes back slowly. You know, I be seeing people do dances, TikToks and stuff, you know, and they be like new trend. I'm like, new trend? Huh? This is old. This is old. These youngsters, and when I say youngsters, again, I know I'm not old, but I'm not young. You know, I'm just saying, I'm 43. So when I say young, I'm talking about like the ones that may be like 30 and under. That's what I mean by that. Because a lot of them think they're making stuff popular, but they really ain't. It's just coming back. You know, it happens every one, you know, what? I feel like it happens every 10 years. Every 10 years, things that were 20 years ago come back around and everybody think it's brand new. But yeah, man, the 80s, right out the gate when they showed those straws, I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be excellent. But yeah, I just remember going to the mall one time. We went in the mall, and it's like my father parked where when you go in the mall, the shoe store will be right there. We went to that store. I got the shoes and we went out. I don't know what else was in that mall. What a great video. Again, you come to this channel, check out more videos, man. They're so great. So great. Just look at the thumbnails, man. And yeah. But all right, again, appreciate y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed. Peace out.